Conference, President, what a story. And while we're telling stories, I would like to tell you a story about a member of Unison. Until recently, a teaching assistant. His mother worked in our NHS, his father, a postal worker. I would like to introduce to you a member of our union and a child of the Windrush generation sat here with me today. Conference, Michael Braithwaite. Michael, forced to leave his job, his identity taken away from him by a vicious government, but now protected by our NEC member, Hugo Pierre, and our Camden branch. Conference, this government has torn apart lives like Michael's. This government has humiliated caring people like Michael, deprived them of their dignity, their pride, broke down their doors, publicly shamed them. Michael broke no law, but the law tried to break him. Conference, not on our watch. We will fight them all the way. And on behalf of every single person in this hall today, I say to Michael, the UK is your home, Michael. But much more than that, your union, Unison, is your home too, and we will protect you. So conference, 25 years. Where did it all go? It's a year to celebrate, to commemorate all of the work of those who went before us in Nalgo, in Newpie, in Cozy. People whose hard work, passion, dedication built the 3 roads that led us to where we are here today. In 1993, those 3 roads merged at a time when the union movement had never been battered harder. 3,000 Nalgo, Newpie and Cozy branches, more used to poaching each other's members, brought together within a year. Conference, the blood is still on the walls. And our merger, they said, it was impossible. It was too big to succeed. It was a pipe dream. They said a public service union was the right idea, but at the wrong time. But Conference, we had faith. A new union of the left, born in an era of the right, facing a Tory government pandering to the private sector, anti-trade union legislation, Thatcher's enforcer, the Tory certification officer, all stacked against us. A new union also at odds with the new Labour Party. The checks and the balances of the political system had given way to the checks and the bonuses of the bankers. Millions of our people working just to scrape a square meal, ignored by those making millions in the square mile. Bankers ran riot, unchecked, poison ivy, allowed to grow, coiling round our economy. Selfish, insidious, dangerous, and still we survived. And then when the crash came and the Tory coalition arrived, austerity. For them, it was just a word. But for us, it was a sentence, almost a life sentence. The banks were bailed, 600,000 public service jobs were lost. They asked, how could we survive the public service union? We were just 15, and they said we were done. Yet Conference, we survived, and we are still surviving. And it's because of you. It's all the things that you do. And it's because we are driven. We have a vision. We have a purpose. A union of the left designed to serve its members, inclusive, tolerant, caring. A union that gives voices to the voiceless, power to the powerless. This is our union. A union which stood with the Hillsborough families, campaigned with the Lawrence family, Doreen and Neville, part of our family. Unison at the heart of the peace movement in Northern Ireland. And my commitment to you, President, and to all of our Northern Ireland region, our union will fight for that Good Friday Agreement. We will not allow peace in Northern Ireland to be sacrificed by the likes of Boris Johnson serving his narrow, selfish Brexit agenda. This is our union, always looking forward, pioneering, groundbreaking. The first union website, the first union on the radio, in the cinemas, on TV. Does anybody remember the Ants and Bears adverts? Anybody remember them? Well, conference, I'll finally admit to you just in this room, we got it so wrong. We made the bear too cuddly. He was meant to be the big bad employer, but everybody loved him and wanted to buy him. Well, you learn from your mistakes, but our union, the first union to take a stress at work claim, our blue light campaign, putting mental health on the agenda, a tremendous unison conference in Wales, lifting the veil on World Mental Health Day. And our union winning the campaign for the minimum wage, a minimum wage which benefited millions of low-paid workers, but conference, not enough. Our union launching our campaign in Manchester for a living wage. Massive concerts full of young people supporting the campaign, packing out the arenas in Newcastle and Manchester. This is our union. And fighting for equal pay. Our mission, our values, screaming out for it. And in this year alone, 160,000 new members joining our union, 80% of them women. The only union which enshrines in its rule book that women are in the majority in our democratic structures, and quite right too. And four of our 5 Assistant General Secretaries, women. Our unswerving commitment to self-organisation. And we see every day our flags at all events. Unison flags on the suffragette marches earlier this month. Unison women, our colours held high, marching through Glasgow for equal pay. This is our union taking on the grotesque, absolutely grotesque injustice of employment tribunal fees. And conference, since we last met, we have got rid of them. A victory for all workers. A Tory government found guilty of breaking domestic law, European law, but best of all, actually found guilty of breaking Magna Carta itself. And it's a fitting tribute. Leading counsel said very recently, and we've had many plaudits, many awards for the campaign that we ran. But one leading counsel said, this case will always be referred by the name of the union that had the courage to fight the case. That was us. It will always be known as the Unison case. And it took guts. It took courage. It could have cost us millions of pounds. But our union did it, because this is our union. And it's a union which has fighting racism at its heart. There, at the outset of the Hope Not Hate campaign, run from our regional office, creating the Show Racism the Red Card, campaign over 22 years ago and staying loyal to it ever since. Our Northwest region pioneering Holocaust Memorial campaign. So proud also of our union crushing into the ground the BNP councillors that sought to infiltrate our local government. Seeing off UKIP, but conference, no room for complacency. The battle against racism never, ever ends. The mob last week in London, manipulated by a fascist clique. Islamophobia, the Football Lads Alliance, it's there and it's growing. And we've fought this hatred for 25 years, and conference, we will continue to lead that fight over the next 25 years. No place for Islamophobia in our union, and no place for anti-Semitism in our union. This is our union. Our union, campaigning, sowing seeds, changing lives, not just within these shores, but across the globe. Our union, still remembered by South Africans who fought the evil of apartheid. Our NEC members, risking imprisonment, taking in money to sister unions to help fund their fight. My honour to be invited on your behalf to the South African Embassy to meet Nelson Mandela and receive his personal thanks for everything our union did to set his country free. What an accolade. And our London ambulance branch, led by our much missed friend, Eric Roberts, at the centre of our campaign to send renovated ambulances to Cuba, despite the American blockade. And even in the Northwest, we had who's now our regional secretary, Kevin Nelson, leading a convoy of ambulances from Wrexham over to Hull to put them on the ships that we'd commissioned. God knows how they got there. But we did it, and we're remembered. We've been remembered ever since for the work that we did. And it's our union, which for many years, 16 years, campaigned to release the Cuban Miami Five. And I think it's absolutely great that we've got one of the Miami Five with us here today, and he was tremendous in the international rally yesterday evening. But we do so much more that doesn't get reported. Our campaign for dignity and respect for women across all of Southern Africa who are HIV positive. The way they were treated was abysmal, pushed out, excluded. And we fought this campaign to get people to understand what these women were going through, how they needed help, how they were the mother of families who were suffering from HIV and AIDS. A tremendous campaign across the whole of Southern Africa. And it's our fight for protective clothing for health workers in West Africa dying from Ebola as they tried to treat the patients. And we had a tremendous international rally last night. It was humbling, absolutely humbling. Speakers from Colombian, Brazilian, Cuban, Turkish, South African, South Korean trade unions, all telling stories about the traumas that they go through in their country, standing up for the same rights of collectivism that we believe in. And they are all with us here today. It was a tremendous night. Thank you very much. And everybody who was there knows what a great night it was. And this is our union, campaigning against trafficking, modern-day slavery, worker abuse in Qatar, and conference. I'm so proud of our membership of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Proud defenders of the Palestinian people. And that's why I'll always condemn the atrocities the killing, the destruction across Palestine. Our union will never, ever look the other way. And I say to the Israeli government, lift the blockade of Gaza, free Palestine, and stop the killings now. Conference, this is about justice and about humanity, the things that drive us forward. And while we're talking about humanity, I want to say a very, very special thank you to our President, Margaret. Margaret, who introduced me to something new this year, an Irish gin and tonic, which I later found out to be, and you'd know here, wouldn't you? I later found out to be, was a triple gin with a dash of tonic. Margaret, dedicated, determined, honest, she's got a heart of gold. Her family life was so important to her, but she sees Unison people as her family too. Margaret is the very best of our union. Margaret, we've had a great year, even though we were stood up by the Pope. And to our Northern Ireland region, you must be so proud of her. You must be so, so proud of her. Thank you for lending her to us for this last year. And thank you, Margaret, for everything you've done for our union and for our people. So conference, what a year it's been. Our union strong and defiant, more strikes than ever before, standing up and staying strong, smashing those Tory thresholds. They will never hold Unison back. And conference, let's show our solidarity with those members who have taken action this year. Birmingham care workers, Haringey home care workers, Newport City, Hackney, Hull, Ron Affron Housing, Tower Hamlets, United Utilities, Decorum, Migan Med, University of Southampton, University of Hull, FCC Environment, the Glasgow Jannies, Foundation UK, East Dunbartonshire on strike this week. Wrightington, Wigan and Leigh, 5 days action next week, and I'll be with you on the picket line. This is our union. The conference, I would like to introduce to you another member of our union, Bernadette Yeh, a Serona healthcare worker on strike. Stand up, Bernadette. On strike, fighting to stop pay cuts in our southwest region. This is about fighting injustice. This is about our union in Serona Care fighting back. We salute the 100 brave Serona strikers that Bernadette represents today. I don't think the employer wanted them to come. That we have on strike today. And this is our union, taking action, low-paid workers, but standing up for their rights. And we salute you, we are with you, and we will stand by you all of the way. And this is our union, a union of the left. And for the record, it was our union who opposed Tony Blair becoming leader of the Labour Party. Not many of you remember that. We were the ones he claimed gave him the scars on his back. And I was quite pleased. And we were the first union to support one of our members, Jeremy Corbyn, to become leader of the Labour Party. A Labour leader with a manifesto I fought for, waited all my life for. a Labour Party with socialism at its core, committed to ending PFI, outsourcing privatisation, repealing the Trade Union Act, bringing back Shaw centres that did so much good. And Conference, we are a trade union. We're not a political party. We are a trade union. And we make demands of Labour as much as we do of any other party. And we want these things that I've mentioned, we want these things to be done in the first year of a Labour government. We've waited too long. No delay to a second term. And you can already hear the Daily Mail sharpening its knives. How's it going to be paid for, they'll scream. And I'll tell them how we're going to pay for it, how it must be paid for. We can stop paying money to PFI firms who are ripping us all off, like the vulture capitalists of Carillion. They can close the tax havens that bleed us dry, and they can stop spending billions of pounds on weapons of mass destruction when our public services are in crisis. Scrap Trident. Conference, we do make demands, and we have always been willing to take to the streets to fight for what is right. That's why our union was the biggest and loudest on the TUC demonstration on the 12th of May. And that's why I want to see all of you marching with me in London on the 30th of June, celebrating and fighting for our National Health Service, our welfare state. It's our welfare state. We created it. And now, this week, Theresa May, I'm sure you've been reading the papers, claimed that she'd got a plan to fund the NHS. Conference, that's a lie. The funding she's offered just isn't enough. And we're not taken in by shoddy rhetoric about Brexit dividends. They're not worth the buses that they're written on. And I have a message to Theresa May: fund our NHS and fund all of our public services, or call an election and we'll elect a government that will. In the past year, I've travelled around our nations, listening to our activists, from Lanarkshire to Liverpool, Cardiff to Croydon, Stoke to West Cheshire, Northamptonshire to Glasgow, from Halton to Manchester, Colchester to Edinburgh. You talked, I listened. Inspiring stories, but also stories of the struggles, the stresses you face. Branch activists trying to deal with hundreds of employers, tough times and tough jobs. And I promised you when I met all of you, I would act. Act to get the support that you need, as close to our members as possible, wherever they work, whatever their jobs. This must be at the heart of any review that we undertake. We're celebrating 25 years, and the union we created in '93 has served us well. But the world has moved on, and so must we. We have this chance to shape our future, delivering for every branch, delivering for every member, building on what we do well, and yes, Conference, knowing at times that we could have done better. Now it's the time to look to the future, bold, confident, ambitious. Conference, I really do not know what the future will bring, but there are certain things that I do know. There will be highs and there will be lows. There will be triumphs and there will be tragedies. There will be times of darkness and times of hope. And Conference, yes, Conference, I do still have wide-eyed dreams for our union. I grew up with the children of the windless generation in the city Leeds. And the union has been part of my life, all of my life. For me, it's not a job. It's never, ever been a job. It's a way of life. Our union, you, our members, are and always will be everything to me. Some things do change, but I know one thing will never change. Our values, our human qualities, unbending and timeless. Qualities demonstrated by every one of you here today. And I've spoken before of us, all of us, standing on the shoulders of giants who came before us. Conference, I was wrong. I really did get it wrong. You are the giants every day of the week. You inspire me, all of us here for each other. Unison, the merger of three great unions, three roads that came together 25 years ago. You here today, building that bridge from the past to a brighter future, that brighter, fairer, more tolerant world we all believe in. 25 years, conference, we're just getting started. Thank you. Okay. You're okay. Nice to see you. Yeah, nice to see you. Okay. You want to take a picture? Yeah. Okay, thank you both. Thank you.